Yes, welcome to the live. Hope you're doing well. How's your day been? Did you feel a bit of the shift going on? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Talking about the eclipse and the shift and stuff like that. First things first, I guess I should sort of apologise. Didn't do the weeklies this week. This energy. What is? Hang on a second. Oh right, I know what's going on here. Hang on a second. Oh, we're talking about tonight. Let me just turn the sound off. Wow, that was all a bit much. Yes, so I hope you're all doing well. So yeah, I didn't do the lives this week. Lives, hang on. Didn't do the weeklies this week. Energy was sort of like, it told me not to. And it told me to sort of like just sort of take time out and do everything like that. Gillian, is it Gillian or Gillian? Yeah. Good evening, my first live. Hello, welcome to the live. Enjoy. You can ask questions whenever you want. You know, I'm sure everybody will chip in with it. Let me just bring up the comments. Kim, how you doing? Let me just bring up the comments so everybody can see. There we go. Yes, so yeah, I didn't do the weekly readings this week because energy told me not to. So you know, you got to listen to energy. I think it does know best. Going with the flow is really important, and it was part and parcel of the eclipse thing. I did do a video on the eclipse. If you haven't seen it, obviously you'll see it on our channel at some point, and you'll find it on our channel. Frisia, hello. Hello to Julie. Lots of love to everyone. Yes, lovely to see you. There you are. Hello. Yes, I'm here. We're all here, Kim. Lovely to see you all. How was the eclipse for you guys? Who saw it? It was in the southern hemisphere, wasn't it? As far as I can remember. Was it in the southern hemisphere or was that in Canada? One or the other. So we did, as I say, we did an eclipse video on it about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and we also did the shift in consciousness that's happening at this present time. It's coming to fruition at the moment, and just wondering if you guys have noticed it. Have you noticed anything, sort of the way in which you've changed, sort of thing? I personally have, but it'd just be good to hear from you guys to see what you think on that. If you felt anything in the way of sort of shift that's coming, you know, that shift that's been within your life and your consciousness. I personally got it in the sense of, and this is what I was talking about in the eclipse videos as well, about the crown and the root, which is the raison d'etre of being. It's like our karmic path. It's like what we're supposed to be doing. It's our vertical energy. And you know, I really noticed it a lot personally, especially today. And that's why, you know, I think I didn't do the weekly readings. I did actually try to do the weekly readings, and energy told me not to. And I just ran into, it was like Mercury retrograde, just ran into complications. And because I ran into the complications, I kind of put my hands up and kind of went, okay, energy, I'm listening. And so I didn't do the the weekly readings. So I do apologise about that. Chrissy, good morning. Been a hectic week with a lot of delays and interruptions, but have a good feeling of regaining the flow this week. Certainly is. Just shared with a friend, Gillian. Yeah, great. Bring it on. Blind entrepreneur. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Virgo? How's it going? A stepping up shift from Frisia. So yeah, Chrissy, totally get it. Complications, yeah, delays and so forth. I think it was basic. I think what I understood from energy myself personally was kind of like energy was sort of saying, don't worry, hold off. wait for the shift to come through. And I think that happened today. I think with the eclipse, it seemed to put everything kind of like and put everything into line for me personally, and gave me a much clearer vision of how to go forward in multitudes of projects in my life, but they all sort of like tie into energy, tie into healing, tie into that sort of thing. Yeah, there seemed to be like it was just like everything sort of like dovetailed, went boom, boom, and then sort of sat in place. And I sort of, for me, it's a very clear for me personally, where we're sort of where I'm going over the next X amount of years, and it has been a very, moving shifting of timelines. People have been talking about shifting of timelines. If any Geminis out there, you might have felt it more than most people, bizarrely enough, because I kept talking about it. I was talking about it sort of like 3 or 4 weeks ago within the Gemini readings as well, about that there's an opportunity of shifting timelines, and I feel like that's a very similar sort of thing for me. Kim, you've had a crazy busy week. Expecting even more this week. Oh wow, Kim, yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, well it's good if you're on the roll, keep it going. Vita, lovely to see you, Vita, absolutely beautiful. Directional, says Frisia. Yeah, I'd go along with that. It's a definite direction, and I think that's what the crown and the root does, because it is one chakra. They're not separate chakras. It's one chakra. And you've got to be grounded in order for your consciousness to actually sort of take form and take shape, as it were. So, Chrissy, so absolutely had a business plan in place, but had to leave it. But it opened up a new, better opportunity. Fantastic. Excellent. That sounds really good. Gillian, so Gillian's first time here. Welcome, Gillian. I see it is as chapters ending. So we're getting all the muck, come through, but it to a positive end, beginning a new chapter, or beginning a new chapter. So a positive end and a new beginning of a new chapter. I think that as well, and yeah, totally. It is. I've been clearing a lot of muck now for. Well, I'm Capricorn, so us Capricorns, we got it in the neck from Pluto for the last 20 years or whatever it was, 18 years, and I really felt over the last 10 years, quite literally, no, maybe 8 years, 7 years, over the last 10 or 8, 7 years, really got like. I streamlined a lot of things in my life, got a lot of muck out the way, as you might say, and it was good to streamline a lot of things, and it streamlined a lot of things in my life personally, within my finances, within my business, and everything like that. I streamlined a lot of things and got a lot of rubbish out the way. Well, not a lot of rubbish. I won't say rubbish because it's not true. A lot of things that didn't need to be in my life. Let's put it like that. And it certainly is a new chapter that's beginning. The Blind Entrepreneur, how you do? It's so lovely to see you. You went off radar for some weeks, some months, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope your enthusiasm for life is still as enthusiastic as it has always been. It's absolutely lovely to see. Very unusual day, he says. For the first, I got up at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. and then did a huge project with AI. Wow. And then I got an album of all my grandparents. I was full of emotions, emotions and thoughts. I totally forgot about I'm a Virgo Scorpio rising. Did you really? Oh, I'm here to remind you, my friend. you know. Yes, I'm glad you're all here. Excellent. Yeah, we're glad you're here as well, my friends. Absolutely joy to see. Thank you, Chrissy. Hugs, hugs, joining in the family hugs, as it were, Astroflower family hugs. Do you often wake at 3? Well, this is the funny thing, is like when people get sleep deprivations, okay, so that's all to do with the tea routines. So like, so sometimes a bit too much in it. This is what I found. What happens is that like at 1 o'clock is 1, 2 o'clock is when we unhook the brain, and I would say more sort of 4 o'clock is when we sort of reconnect it, and that's often the times when people wake up at those sort of times there and stuff like that. So yes, so do you often get up at 3? I've had 2 weeks straight of it, really, Chrissy. Oh, blimey. No, it has been, it has been, might have been sort of bit sort of like move. I want to break into French now all of a sudden. It might have been sort of like moving. I still can't get the word out. It might have been sort of like, sort of like a bit sort of disturbing. My mother passed. Right, so this is the blind entrepreneur. Excuse me for the cough, by the way. My mother passed, and I had to look after. Okay, she passed away, did she? I hope it went well for her at the end, and it went well for everybody. You okay? I hope you're okay, my friends. It's not always the easiest of things. It can be incredibly joyous and what have you. Hence, been away. That's why you've been away, is it, mate? Right. Okay. Well, totally understandable. I wasn't sort of like, just wondering, making sure you were okay. So I hope it went all right for her, the passing from one to the other, and etc. It's as Gillian was saying earlier on, it is like turning of one chapter to another, really, at the moment. So, and the eclipses are pretty much, they do play into that. And I don't know if it's my timeline, but I've seen a lot on a lot of people's timeline, on my timeline, a lot of people talking about the shift, getting into it now. We did a video on this channel around about sort of like a month and a half ago about this time period particularly, and about the shift in consciousness. And it seems to have really built up a lot of momentum. I don't know if you've noticed it everywhere and everything like that. A lot of peace to your friends, blind entrepreneur. And, it ties in with those comments as well, those comments that are coming through. And there's another one called Swan, and there's a whole set of comments coming in behind the 3-Eye Atlas as well. As I say, it's because we're getting into that point between one point of the galactic plane and the other, and there's going to be a lot of debris that's going to be floating about, or more than floating about, steaming through the system. So we're going to see a lot to all of that. Yeah, and thank you, my friends, for sharing with us as well and being here. So that's part and parcel of the shift. It's making people very sort of conscious. And I said it was about geological events, and I think it is making people conscious that we're part of something that's far greater and bigger than we could ever imagine. So it certainly got things streamlined for me. A lot is opening up for that, and let's just have a quick look at the energies and see what's going on there, and see how that's flowing through for the. I just want to see if we can project in the energy field line. Okay, so it's like there's a storm that's come through, and it's made a lot of choppy waters and everything like that. And it seems like the energy is now getting into like a rhythm that is big waves coming through of energy, but constant. so it's not choppy anymore. It's defining itself a lot more. That's what it feels like. It looks like on the way of sort of energy. It's becoming a lot more sort of yeah, constant. Good, clean waves, as it were, rather than sort of like choppy waves, which I think that's what we've gone through. And with those clean waves, I think it's going to, people who have actually got that consciousness of understanding of the shift we're going through, I think they are the people who are going to not necessarily benefit, but certainly progress a lot more and with greater ease. I think for people who don't really are not waking up to what is, or haven't woken up to what is going on, may find life a lot more difficult. Excuse me. So Frisia, you said received insights today at five different types of millet grain that heal specific organs, livers, lungs, etc. All right, okay. So you're doing the investigation on food and inputs and stuff like that, and how it feeds into a bit like a naturopath sort of thing, which is fantastic. I love naturopaths. We used to, in my centre that I had, we had a couple of naturopaths. Really did some really good work, those naturopaths, and very good things to be doing. Absolutely lovely to see. Is that directed to me, blind entrepreneur? You're a true diamond. Oh, thank you very much. A gentleman and a scholar. It's always a pleasure. And well, thank you very much, my friend. Very much appreciated. So are you. You know what I mean? I hope your journal's going okay. We never got together on that one, unfortunately. I hope that's all going all right. I hope all your journalistic sort of side of life's going really well as well. So, yes, thank you. Thanking you very much. So, yeah, that naturopath sort of side of things in Frisia, seeds and so forth. Yeah, well, I did a lot of work with naturopaths, as I say, within the centres, and I learned a lot. And I was very fortunate to be connected with a lot of different types of therapists, be it Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, or naturopaths, or hypnotherapists, lots of different type of people. And it was really nice because at one point we had 23 different types of therapists within the centre, and you could almost see the connections between the therapies, which was really, really good. And it was very interesting to see excuse me, to see the Chinese medicine people, the Chinese medicine practitioner who was an actual doctor. We had a couple of them, and working with people who do Ayurveda, which comes from India, and to see them two sort of connecting together was absolutely amazing, really. Because people say, like, never the two will meet, and they seem to meet really well in the middle. So, yeah, it's very good. Who was I talking? Who was I talking to you? Someone about lemon balm, using tea to help with the stomach and overactive nervous system. Yeah, yeah. I tell people for the washing of the lymphatic nodes as well, which is all to do with stress and stuff like that. So yeah, lemon balm, I'm way up for that. Love that. And plants, this is it. Plants. What I say is, everything you put in your mouth, you should consider a medication. So there's attributes, and there's benefits, and there's what's the opposite to benefits that you can get from eating things. And some things are better for some people than others, and so forth. So it's absolutely, knowing what we put in our mouths is really important. And the more you can do your own sort of cooking, as it were, the lot better we're going to be. Have you looked into ashwagandha? Is that right? My son takes it for his anxiety. What is ashwagandha? Am I saying it correctly, by the way? Yeah, it's okay. So hang on a second. I must have missed a comment there. Sort of like okay. So let me see. Unfortunately, there is a lot out there. Thanks for see. Why am I thinking of Roland from Grange Hill? Yolts. Are you saying I look like Roland? I don't think so. I don't know. Don't know why you're thinking about Roland from Grange Hill. That's quite an amazing. That's a throwback from the past, isn't it? You know. So yeah, yes, Chrissy, ashwagandha is a superb adaptogenic herb and even balances the thyroid. Oh, that's quite interesting to know. You know, thyroid, yeah. So my mum passed 2 years or so from cancer, and so there's a lot of transitioning going on with that sort of thing. It is ashwagandha. Says careful with the blood clots. Have to be careful with the blood clots. So this is still talking about ashwagandha. I'm sure I looked at it and thought it was was a no-go for me. Okay. So yeah, I think you need to be very conscious about things that you do eat, most definitely. When you say centers, do you mean like a spiritual church? No, I started up. I renovated a house, an old farmhouse in the Pyrenees that didn't only had 3 walls. And it was around about 350 square meters with around about 2 acres of land, and I planted all fruit trees and everything like that. And I opened up a healing center. So we had yoga there, we had astrology, we had Ayurveda and Chinese medicine. We had loads of different therapists in the center. And it was right in the countryside. It's absolutely beautiful place. Let me get a picture of it. I'd love to show you. Let me get a picture of it and see if I can. And anyway, it was a center that I'd started because I'd been doing healing for a long time, and I was getting quite well known within the area. And the first day we opened, we had 500 people come along to the center. It was absolutely brilliant. So. So let me just get a picture of it. I can't find a picture of it now. Absolutely beautiful place it was. So. Oh, wow, that's memories, that is. Blimey. Yeah, I can't find a picture of it, but it's called Pause or Diapason, which basically means, it's funny because I was thinking about that driving along today, funnily enough. And I was thinking about the centre driving along, and I was thinking about whether I'd like to start up another centre as well in the UK, but I've probably got other things to do. But yeah, it wasn't a church, as it were, Gillian. It was a centre, a well-being centre in a way that was in an old farmhouse, and it had my front room. The front room we had was about sort of like 60 square meters, and then we had another room upstairs, which was about 60 square meters, and it's like these beautiful views of the Pyrenees. And don't you'll make me cry. It's it's an absolutely lovely place. So Shirley, lovely to see you. Welcome. Yeah, so that's what I set that back up in 2012, I think it was. Blimey, nearly 15 years ago now. But yeah, 2012. I think the association's still going. It's moved out of that place now because it's got sold on. But yeah, it was a beautiful experience. I used to do experiences of, because I had a huge allotment in there, and I did experience about growing plants next to each other and seeing how that they can sort of grow better, and how they can create their own sort of like pesticide and stuff like that, natural pesticide. So and also meditating on the plants. And I was just doing experiments and exploring the idea of energy and growing. There's lots of things, and I had this sort of like amphitheater as well. I'll probably definitely get a picture of that, of the amphitheater. Let me just have look, here's a picture here. So here it is here. Let me just have a look at that. I don't know if you can see that. What I'll do is I'll just chuck it on there and see if you can see it. Sort out my thing. One second, let me just bring up a picture for you of where it was. Here it is. Let me just. That was me giving like a conference, an energy conference in the back garden. So I set up this amphitheater in the back garden, and there it is. There's me in the middle there, as you can well see. And it was absolutely brilliant. It's really good. Really enjoyed it. Absolutely brilliant experience. A lot of great experience for a lot of people there. And the idea was it was to give a space for people to explore therapies, not only as in coming to have therapies, but also people who had also just become qualified, and giving them a chance where you wouldn't charge them a fortune to rent a room to practice their therapy, so then they can get their ball rolling, as it were, within the therapy. Well, because it's not easy. I was very, very fortunate when I started my healing sessions 20 odd years ago. It just took off like no tomorrow. I put one business card out in a tiny little village shop, and within a month and a half, my garden was constantly packed with people on my days that I was doing healings, of people waiting to come and see me. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I was fortunate enough to be in that position where I saw a lot of people became well known in that area at that time. And I just kind of like thought it'd be nice to open up a centre to help other people, get and explore their sort of healing and stuff like that. So, I did that some years ago. It was absolutely brilliant. Really did enjoy it. So yeah, and there is these moments of crystallizing things. I've had Reiki twice. Why no? Okay, so hang on a second. Let me just go back to Julian. No. Explain why I said church. I go to a spiritual awareness night every Thursday, and I always call it my spiritual church. Oh, right, okay. Well, we used to do this. We used to do like meals where people come over for a meal, and we'd have different types of evenings and stuff like that. It's absolutely brilliant. Really did enjoy it. And Chrissy sort of said she'd been amazing. I had Reiki twice and found it deeply spiritual experience. Often is. When people examine themselves or open the door to exploring different aspects of themselves through, be it energy or therapy and stuff like that, it can really open up your eyes to a deeper meaning and a deeper understanding of our spiritual connection to the world. So, and that's part and parcel of what, my job was or is opening people up to understanding who they are and what they do. Preacher says, it sounds amazing, with the pole shift coming and the next 3 years, won't people need to hunker down more? Yes, they will do. It's the reason I went over to the Pyrenees 30 years ago. You wouldn't believe it. 30 years ago, I went over to the Pyrenees because I knew the pole shift was coming. And so I was already doing all this stuff that I'm doing now, but 30 odd years ago. And, you follow the path. And so I know where I'm going to be hunkering down. I would suggest everyone finds a place to hunker down. I don't want to frighten anyone, obviously. Life should be living, and there's a lot to be lived in between now and then. So we need more of that in the UK. That's not a lot of money to go. Not a lot of money to go. Not sure what that means. To make your skills to improve about energy from the ether. Yep. Not sure what that was. Blind entrepreneur. Yeah. I think this is it. I was talking to entities from around the universe, as it were, and they were asking me what I thought would be the best way in order to help the human species to step up to the plate, because then you're off to Snowdonia, Julie. Fair play. Yeah, you love Snowdonia, haven't you? When didn't you go to Snowdonia recently? Wasn't it you went to Snowdonia, Lisa? Yeah, good place to go. Definitely. Don't go more than 750 meters high, though. Otherwise, the electricity in the higher echelons will cause a little bit of a problem for things. So don't go too high, but make sure you're not too low either. And one of the things I was explaining is the best way in order to help the human species make that shift is for people to understand what energy is and how it works, and to actually see energy. And that's why I teach on my workshops as well. It's, I think that's going to be important. I think it's going to be the thing that's going to change a lot of the consciousness once we understand truly how energy works, because it will dispel a lot, because unfortunately, and it's, I understand, but unfortunately there is a lot of illusion about energy. It's not just a good bubbly feeling thing. It's there's a very practical aspect to it all and everything like that. And dispelling the illusions, I think, is also a very good thing. It's like dispelling the illusions through quantum mechanics, and the idea that that we create our own reality. And I have issues with that as well, simply because if I'm just the only one creating the reality around me, it means that everything else doesn't really exist without me, and I don't think that's true. So, and I think it's all part and parcel of it. Can I ask you? Okay, so Snowdonia. So Julie, yes, camping, it's my go-to place. Yeah, camping. Wow, camping in Snowdonia. I've been in Snowdonia, and I think we've talked about it before. It is an amazing place. Camping, summertime camping, I can totally understand. I find my friends confuse living fear with being consciously prepared. And yes, going back to basic skills is imperative. Totally, I get that as well. That whole sort of thing of, you know, the thing is with that, with the conspiracy theories and everything like that, with what we've got to walk away from is the divide of them and us, because that is still playing to the old tune, and we've got to get past that. That's why I talk about the common sense revolution and or evolution. And the common sense is because that's the common ground that we have between every side of the situation. And yeah, fear can be very fear is a big component of that. I see a lot of YouTube channels that profess to being part of a spiritual awakening and everything like that, but at the same time they push a lot of fear, and it's just like, oh, yeah, but that doesn't really equate with it all. I get a bit sort of like disappointed with all of that sort of thing. Open your eyes, our eyes. Yes, opening our eye, I would say, more than anything else, Frisia. That one there, opening our eye to actually see energy, be totally good. Sorry, and this is from Gillian. Says, sorry, can I ask your name? Do you do platform anywhere in this country? Is it in this country, the UK? Is that what are you in the UK? My name is Tom Lawless. If you're asking my name, I'm not sure if you're asking anybody else's name, but yeah, my name is Tom Lawless. So yeah, you can look me up. You can see me on, in France, I was the Pause de Diapason. So yeah, in the UK, I will be, and I should be doing some workshops up in Kirby on the 28th of October. You'll get information about that this week here. I think it's the 28th of October. Let me double check that. So I'll be doing like the source, which is the beginning of energy. It's either on the 25th and the 26th of October, or we're looking at the 1st and 2nd of November, just after Halloween, of course. So that's going to be up in Kirby. There will be some more details about that coming out this week here. And either I'm doing in the West Country on the 25th and 26th, and Kirby up in on the 1st, which is up near Snowdonia ways, going up that direction, slightly a bit north of that. On the 1st and 2nd, if you want to be involved in that. So I see static, and for many, so this is from Julie. I see static, and from my youngest, for many years, my youngest, and I roll balls of energy. Right? Okay. Yes. That's where you start from. I thought we were crazy at the time, but now realize it's possible with panic energy. Not sure what panic energy is, but yeah, you got to start somewhere, and energy will show you what you're ready to sort of see, as it were. Retreats and centers are in this country. Hang on a second. This is from Gillian. In this country, but there's so much to attend because I usually over a weekend. That's fine, but they add meals and accommodation, so end up being hundreds for the weekend retreat. Yeah, I used to do that and do add accommodation and meals and stuff like that. Yeah, and it can get expensive to do, but my weekend courses it's not going to be running into hundreds, but then I don't provide the accommodation and stuff like that. Julie, is that the energy you work with Tai Chi? Okay, so that's Tai Chi. Coral, how you doing, Coral? Lovely to see you. Hi all. I slept in and have missed a lot. You slept in, did you? Did you get the solar eclipse uh, earlier on? That's what I hope you're doing all right. It's okay to sleep in. It's fine. Don't worry. You're always with us in spirit, as it were. Feeling better naturally. Nice name. Daily sun gazing will open your third eye. Stay grounded. Totally. Sun gazing is at a particular time of the day. Don't do it at midday. That's not the thing. It's not easy to see energy as well during midday. The best time is either at sunset or sunrise. Just at the moment that the sun is just slightly up in the horizon, and that's the best time to do sun gazing. I do sun gazing as much as possible. I totally get that. Feeling better naturally. Totally get that. So yeah. Any plans to visit us up in Scotland? Love to. Well, if you've got 10 people to do a workshop, I'll come. I'll be anywhere. I need a minimum of 10 people, and if you've got that many people, I can definitely make it up there. Yeah, I'd love to. Pranic. Okay, not panic. Okay, pranic energy. Yeah, exactly. It's that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the 5 winds of prana that comes from the sun. So you get different types of energy that comes from the sun, with the corona holes, the filament energies, and the solar flares, and so forth. So yes, in the UK. So hello, hello to you too, Gillian. Yeah, in the UK. So I'm going to be doing one down on the towards. I want to do a day down at the heart chakra down at Land's End Way, down at St Michael's Mount. If I'd like to do a workshop down there, all to do with the heart chakra, if people would be interested. If there's enough people, I can definitely get things to getting it together. How do you deal with those that are shut down and still stuck in the spiritual treadmill? I went to share with them, but understand everyone comes into knowledge in their own time. What do you mean about spiritual treadmill? Do you mean someone who's into religion? Is that what you mean? How do you deal with them? Well, fanatics, unfortunately, they're closed-minded, really. I'm not saying they're bad people or anything like that, but they tend to be closed-minded, and their crown chakras tend to be a little bit more, rather than being open like that. And you can get people's crown chakras that are shaped like a vase, almost like the Egyptian crown chakras that they show that holds the sun and stuff like that. Which is the sun is their consciousness, and that's where you find your consciousness. It's right in the middle of your crown chakra. It's not actually your consciousness. It gives you the state of consciousness, basically, more than anything else. But fanatical religious people tend to be closed-minded and have a crown chakra that's sort of like straight, like a top hat in a way, rather than like an inverted lampshade. So I wouldn't, I just listen and hear their point of view and let them stand in when they're, what they understand. And I wouldn't force them to try and wake up. It's funny when my kids, no, just those that aren't open to energies and all new age concepts of not living in fear and blindly following the masses. Do you know? Yeah, okay. So my brother's not going to be watching this, but he might be. And if you are, Jago, lovely to see you, my friend. And I love my brother dearly, and he can't get his head around what I do. It's quite funny. Can't get his head around what I do until he had a problem, and and I wouldn't say he's a believer, or but he certainly opened up a lot after I sort of helped him with his shoulder and stuff like that. And I think the proof's in the pudding. I always, when I was doing healing, I started my healing. When I started doing that, I wanted to do it for the general public who used to go down. What the intention behind doing the healing was that it should be normal to go and see a doctor as it is to go and see a healer. That was my intention. So I used to get a lot of people who never really been to a healer or anything like that come and see me, and by the time after 10, 15 years and seeing quite literally thousands of people, a lot of people were starting to get really understand the idea of that there's a vibrational, there's something that's far greater than what they can understand at the moment, and it opens people up. Like nothing against people who go down big supermarkets like Tesco's, but I wanted to sort of say it should be, healing and energy should be common, should be almost common speech, common way of being, and this common sense in a way. And I'm not going to force it upon everybody. I'm only going to, through practice and through explaining or experience, people will open up and understand. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay. So, it was, people often say, when I start working on someone, they kind of go, how do you know that? And kind of go, well, you got to understand that there's something far greater than what you can just see in the physical world. And everybody knows that sort of like sixth sense a little bit. And everyone has it. People call it hunches and stuff like that. And when you open people to stuff that they already talk about, all of a sudden they understand it. And when I explain it to, so I used to get a lot of farmers who used to come and see me and stuff like that as well, where I was. And to explain it to them, I used to sort of like, oh, thank you very much, Julie. To explain it to them, I used to have to explain how chakras work, a little bit like how a tractor works, and stuff like that. And they kind of, when you explain it in layman terms, they kind of go, oh, yeah, I can get that. So if you want to help people understand, just explain it to them in layman terms, real sort of basic sort of stuff. And then they can understand that there's something that, we don't all understand how a car actually works, but we know how to drive it and we know what they are. So it can help people a lot more. Thank you very much, Shirley. So I think the best policy is don't try and convince people. That's the best thing. Just sort of say, well, this is what I see from my side, or this is what I feel from my side, or this is what I know from my side. Whether you believe it or not, or whether you understand it or not, that's not a me problem. And I'm not going to force anything upon you. And if you approach it like that, you won't set up a conflictual situation, because we've got to get away from that whole idea of the fighting of good and bad and everything like that. And that's that whole sort of divisive sort of thing that I was talking about earlier on, that we need to walk away from, walk to something that's far greater, in the understanding that we're all nothing, and I think I'm upsetting a few people when I say there is not entities or spaceships that are going to come and take you, save us, because that's not how energy or the universe works. If we can't make it on our own, to the other side. If we can't make it to the other side on our own, then we obviously weren't destined to make it. If a species or an entity comes and saves us, that circumnavigates the whole idea of conscious evolution. And every entity in the universe got and go, no, I'm not going to mess with that, because if you haven't made it through consciously, you could be a danger to the entire universe later on in life. So there's no spaceship that's coming to take a select people away. I'm seeing so much of that on YouTube, even more and more at the moment, about, get ready, get your bags packed, you're leaving. That's what you see a lot of that sort of thing, and you just kind of go, my word, it's so easy to fear and illusion sells. Basically, that's what it is. Unfortunately, because I don't deal in fear and illusion, YouTube doesn't back me, as it were. So, it's a bit, it can be a little bit, complicated in that sort of sense. The fact that YouTube doesn't really sort of like back me as a channel. I'm certainly getting sort of like, they don't help me out. There is no doubt about it. They don't help me out. So, and there's a reason for that. It's because I don't give the, I don't do that fear mongering, and and I don't, I'm very practical. I'm a bit of a Capricorn, a bit boring like that, a bit grounded, and I was born in the fruit and veg market of East London down Liverpool Street, and keep my feet really on the ground, although I get involved with absolutely crazy stuff. So, yeah, I think I'm annoying a few people by telling them that there's no, spaceships are not going to turn up and whisk them away. And I sort of say as well that if you haven't learned to keep your bedroom tidy, there's no way I'm going to take you to a brand new house and allow you to run amok. That's basically how the universe thinks about it all. I think us humans, we've definitely got something to explain to the universe, and to all the entities across the universe about what what it's. We've got a big lesson to bring to the universe. Okay, I'm taking my chance with that. So I missed something there, Julie. Sorry. Bless you. Being told too many DRS. I don't know what that is. That I'm weird. That I won't go. I won't go see one now on my own. Oh, doctors, I guess. Yeah. Do you know what? I got so well known down in. I don't fret about it, by the way, Chrissy. No point worrying. You can ask my kids. Whenever they say, "Oh, don't worry," I said, "Don't worry about it. I don't worry. There's no point worrying. It's a waste of time worrying. So I don't worry about it." And Shirley says it's like a cult in America. What's it called? I don't know. What was that? That was it Jim Jones. There's so many. It's happened so many times before. You just kind of think, oh my god, why is it happening again? Did we not learn the first 30 times? Why are people falling into it again? Okay, my GP. When I should take my kids, I don't go to the doctors. I take my kids to the GP occasionally, and they know me and they know who I am. And this one GP is kind of going, okay, we used to have like this. She used to say to me, she goes, okay, so what do you think it is? And I used to explain what I think it is, and then the GP would explain to me what they thought it was, and then we start saying, hey, look, this is what doctors think, and it's not too far off of what I was saying anyway. And kind of, so I think a lot of doctors are actually open to it, and a lot of doctors are really closed off to it. But I've had doctors come and see me for the healing. I've also had doctors doing referrals to me for the healing. Hang on a second. Eva, can you do me a favour? Can you just bring me a bit of a tissue, please, love? Thanks. So, Heaven's Gate, is that what it's called? What is Heaven's Gate? Is Heaven's Gate is that the cult thing? YouTube lol flipping algorithm. Yeah, I don't think they've got an algorithm. I really don't. You know, as someone who runs a YouTube channel, and I don't know if anybody else does run a YouTube channel here, but the algorithm. Thank you very much for that. The algorithm within YouTube, it doesn't, because my click-through rate for quite a few of my videos is really good, and my video duration is really good, and I will get no impressions whatsoever. And then when you contact YouTube, they say, well, you need to have a good click-through rate and you need to have a good view duration. And I get it. And then they kind of go, well, we don't know. It may be something within the algorithm. Kind of go, well, either your algorithm's working or it isn't working. You know, and to be honest, I don't think they've got a very good algorithm. I just think they've got an agenda more than anything else. But, you know, I don't mind. It's their own thing. I don't run YouTube, and YouTube's got their own thing going on. Excuse me a second. You might want to block your ears. I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna I'm gonna turn off the sound so you don't get it. Okay. There you go. Is that off now? Hang on a second. There you go. All back online. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think YouTube. I think YouTube have an agenda basically, like most things. You know what I mean? And I'm not complaining the fact that they've got an agenda, because everything does have an agenda. You know, I don't have a problem with it at all, as long as they be honest about it. Sometimes I just feel like it's not really being honest with me. But hey ho, you know. But I love YouTube. I think it's a really good platform. Just a bit really messed up sometimes. You know. Yes, it seems like we've haven't learned from history, and so we're fated to repeat it. Uh, about time we had a spiritual resurgence. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's like it's getting a bit repetitive though, isn't it, Chrissy? You know, that sort of thing. Um, and yeah, I don't know if you know. You probably do. You most definitely do. Carl Gustav Jung. And you know, I'm a big fan of Jung. It'd be good to channel him actually. Um, I'm a big fan of Jung. I've got a lot of respect for Jung, rather than anybody else. But yeah, Jung talked about the Enlightenment, and the ultimate goal of the Enlightenment is to walk away from society. When you become enlightened at a certain stage, it becomes almost painful to live within society, because it's just so polarized between one side and the other, and that sort of thing. And Carl Gustav Jung is let there be silence. Yes, let there be silence. Carl Gustav Jung, um, you know, understood that whole idea that um, enlightenment doesn't mean either one side or the other. Enlightenment means that you can see both sides. In fact, you can see all sides at one time. And it can be a little bit frustrating, because you can understand one side and you can understand the other. I understand the idea of, you know, the aspirations for the illusional type of energy, but I understand as well the other side of being practical, like a GP, and the physical sort of side of life. And maybe it's good to be able to combine those two together. You know, maybe that's what the spiritual resurgence could be. That, you know, that common sense evolution that I'm talking about. You know, that it is the only way. It's the only thing that will eventually come out of it all. The common sense, because it's the only thing that will stand up over time. And you know, I think a lot of the other stuff will fade into insignificance, really. You know, so you know, it's interesting times. But I will say this. This whole sort of eclipse thing, and when I was talking about it being connected to the crown and the root, and finding your raison d'être, your reason for being, you know, is making it a lot more crystal clear. Certainly for me, I don't know about everybody else, and it sounds like a lot of people had a very similar sort of situation this week here as well. But particularly for me, today was a real good eye opener, a real good sort of like, okay, I get it, sort of thing. After going through a really big sort of transition sort of thing over the past sort of like few years. Chrissy says, I've worked hard to improve my health and well-being. The one thing I can't seem to do is give up. I thought it said soaking, but it's not, it's smoking. Any advice or others here who have dealt with that? First things first, you've got to want to give up something. I think first things first. Secondly, what you've got to do is, I do it a lot within my healing. I've helped a lot of people stop smoking, and smoking tends to be like a treat. It gives you, it's the biggest, basically, nicotine or smoking is one of the best antidepressant drugs we could ever have, because it's the nicotine helps with sort of, it brings your heart rate up, which makes you feel a little bit better about things and stuff like that. It's not necessarily good for that heart rate and stuff like that, but what it react is as if like kind of go, I'll just do this, then I'll have a fag, sort of thing. I'll have a cigarette. And what you've got to do is, over time, you've got to trick your subconscious into giving yourself another treat. Now, people tend to do this via eating sort of like particular vanilla-driven sweets or cakes and stuff like that, because they put a lot of vanilla in tobacco. Because when you smoke vanilla, it becomes really highly addictive. Nicotine or tobacco itself, you're only addicted, your addiction only lasts around about 8 hours, really. So if you go to sleep, when you wake up in the morning, in theory, you're past the nicotine. What happens is the additives that they put into tobacco, say like arsenic, mercury, and vanilla. If vanilla, you can get an addiction, and it could be vanilla essence. You get an addiction for a month. Arsenic, you can get an addiction for sort of like 10 days. And so you get the arsenic, which is the addiction, which makes you kind of go, makes you really annoyed. So then it continues helping you continues to making you smoke. So first things first, I would start smoking natural tobacco, so with no additives whatsoever. And then there's got to be a moment of a conscious shift where you really want to give up. And I would exchange your benefit. So rather than smoking a fag, you eat a fruit. And I program the energy frequency within people. So then when they come and see me, if they've already smoked that day, they're allowed to smoke, because I need, tobacco. I haven't got a problem with tobacco and nicotine. There's some really beneficial sides to it all. So so basically they should go to sleep, have a good night's sleep, and when they wake up in the morning, that's it. You stop smoking, and you get that first urge to have your first cigarette on the first day quite early on. Could be just after breakfast or something like that. And so just after breakfast, you have to sort of like hold back on it for 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, you can reward yourself with a fruit. And eventually that desire for that first cigarette gets later and later within the day. And by the end of the week, you'll find that when you want to have your first cigarette, you've already got your fruit in the hand, and you realize actually you've got a greater desire for fruit than you do for tobacco. So you can give up smoking there. So sorry, a bit of a dumb question. Says no question is ever dumb. I wouldn't say that. But how would you describe what or who runs the Akashic libraries? Sorry, not spelt that right. Okay. It's like spirits that have gone through all the learning. So they no longer, it's the spirits who run the Akashic library, they don't have an agenda whatsoever. So they're not good for bad. They're not, what I mean? People sort of say it's the archangels that looking after the library. If you turn around to an archangel and said, "Hey, Michael, man, we want you to become a librarian," and Michael's going to kind of, "What? You want me to become a librarian? Are you joking?" So the spirits that are running the Akashic library, they're not like spirits that are in the incarnation process that we are in, because we're in the learning process. They seem to be a completely detached spirit, so they're very nondescript administrators. They're not supposed to have an agenda, so therefore they're not feeding one side or another. They're just there to do a job. So they don't ascended masters. No, yeah, they wouldn't see themselves as ascended masters, because it's like let's say you've gone through a lot of incarnations. It's almost like in order to pay back, you go into working for the Akashic Library for a little while as a sort of like, sort of helping out role. But when you're in there, you're not the people that they're not really. They are librarians, and they're not really running the library. They're almost just sort of kind of going, okay, they're keeping it organized. So they're sort of saying, you need this information, therefore you're going to need this life and this life and this life. Here's the information from those 3 different lives there. That should give you all the information you need on that particular subject. And I wouldn't necessarily call them ascended masters. I would, I don't think they'd like to be called that, more than anything else, because that gives a sensation of them and us sort of thing, and that's not how they look at life. They're very nondescript in a way, and they're not like a soul. It's individual sort of like spirit in a way. They're very particular. They're very particular sort of like beings, almost like mythical characters in a way. It's like it's that sort of thing. Chrissy, wow, didn't know about the vanilla? Yeah, no. I think of the first company that caught out on that was Camel. And they used to put heavy amounts of vanilla in it because it used to help kids to get addicted to it as well. That's why they put vanilla in a lot of food stuff as well. And you wouldn't even know it when you're eating the food stuff. It could be salty stuff as well that they put in, because it's a highly addictive thing. So Shirley says, I've quit for 2 years now, and it's a tough one. I use the patches, etc. So yeah, good for you. Yeah, if you want to give up, then give up. If you don't want to give up, then What about herbal cigarettes? What sort of herbal cigarettes are you talking about here, Chrissy? And not the Mary Jane type. Okay, I love you, Mary Jane. Yeah, but then you can smoke anything, really. You really could smoke anything. It's not a sort of thing. Humble entities, yeah. Should we go and ask them? Should we go and ask them, Frisia? Let's just sort of like sat on this line at the moment, so let's just connect to that energy. Let's go and have a look and let's go and have a see. So here we go. You see the morphic fields a lot easier now. Okay, just going off. And there we go. We're going back down to the crossing point down there, going down into the vortex there. You can see the central point. You can go very quickly. You know, there we go. Going into the central point, going into that. Let's go into that Akashic library here. Here we go. Okay, so how can you help me? Yeah, right. Can you give us a brief explanation of your origins and what you're all about, my friend? Okay, so it's like okay, this is really quite difficult to explain. I'm going to try my best here. On the multitudes of different dimensions that one can possibly live upon and gain total understanding of how things work, we become servitude to a system, or we servitude to the greater being, to the creator, as it were. And it's like it's like God's little helpers is the best way to describe it. But they seem to be spirits that have lived on various different planes at various different times. So they've gone through different Akashic libraries through understanding and know how the system works, know how important it is. And sometimes, let me get that there. Say hello. Yeah. I'm just asking, how do we become one? Okay. You've got to want to. Okay, excellent. Okay, let me get back out of that because I'm not going to be able to explain it all. I thank you very much. Let me get back out of that, come back out. Let me find that vortex. There we go. We got the vortex back up to the crossing point, down, back down the line, and back into the body. There we go. It's like, how does someone become a priest or a monk? Do you understand what I mean? Chrissy, thank you so much. Absolute pleasure. Thanking you, thanking you. It's how do you become a priest or a monk? There's a process that you go through in to become that sort of person where you become servitude to what is going on, and knowing thy place as well in the whole sort of thing is really important as well. It's like um, it's like in order to become a priest, obviously you start off and you go to Sunday school or maybe go to church at the beginning and stuff like that, and then and then you join a movement within the church as a young person. Then you start doing voluntary work within the church, and before you know it, you end up becoming a priest or a monk or whatever it is, and it's a gradual process of learning in different dimensions. This is what the spirit seems to be. So they'll say, well, I've learned a lot in lots of different places, and once you get to a certain stage, it seems to be that once you understand multitudes of different dimensions, what more is there to learn than to be in service of everybody else and everything that there possibly can be. And once you become to service of the creator or the greater good or the the universe, as it were, you then become and you then sort of understand how to you have that understanding where you can even go to the next level after that, and it's almost as if like it's almost like work experience, if that's seems to be work experience. So in order for that spirit to then go to the next level, okay, running a star system, running a solar system on our Akashic library is a very particular thing, and you need to have that balance between black and white, positive and negative. So neither no longer has the advantage over the other, being totally at one and yin and yang within the situation. So you're not feeding one side or the other. You're just kind of going. You're in servitude of the whole sort of thing. It's Jane. Hello, Jane. Lovely to see you. Humble entities, I think, is a very good word for them, Frisia, though. Humble entities, I think, is a very good way to sort of say about them. It's once you can get in, it's like anything in life. Once you start learning it and it becomes second nature, it becomes a lot easier to do. Sim, man. Do you know what I was thinking about you today, my friend? I was kind of wondering, where you got to, how you doing, and everything like that. Love to you too, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Lovely energy to you. A long time since we spoke. Try and speak some point this week, as it were. Be lovely to speak with you. I hope everything's going well in Brighton for you. Hope everything's going well. Well done for having. So yes. So hang on a second. I missed something there. Chrissy G. Toughest thing ever I've done is to give up alcohol. Yeah. Do you know what, Kim? You gave it up. Well done. Absolute. More power to you. It is alcohol. I don't drink. I've drunk loads. I gave up whiskey when I was 13. I decided to get everything out of the way when I was really young. And I don't drink really. I can't remember the last time I had a drink, as it were. Oh, I tasted some wine the other day, actually. Long time since I tasted some wine. But I don't really drink, and alcohol is the hardest drug to give up, I think. Really is the hardest addiction to give up. It's really, really quite difficult. So, if you went through it, Kim, and you're out the other side, well done. Fair play. That is a real testament to your spirit. A real testament to your spirit. So, hats off to you. Real hats off to you. That feels seen and understood. Totally. We're all part of it. We're all part of it. Do you know the biggest medicine for giving up? Something like alcohol, because I help. Is, and I've had personal experiences with my in-laws. And the biggest thing, because when people go through that process of giving it up, it really sort of it rips at you as a person. And sometimes the biggest medicine that or the biggest help you can give someone is just being there to give them a hug occasionally, to sort of saying, You're doing well. It's difficult. It's okay. Lean on me. Lean on me when you're not strong. So, it's I spent a lot of time with my in-laws, just being that person to sort of like, grab them and hold them to make sure they don't fall. And you know, it is, yeah, the toughest thing. I would totally agree, and I think well done. If you can get through it and through the other side, amazing, really is amazing. I was quite fortunate because I never really attached. I've done a lot of things in life. I've tried a lot of things, and but I've never been attached to anything really. Um, uh, in that sort of sense. You could say tobacco has been the biggest of attachments, but more than anything else. But I've never really been attached to it, so I've been very fortunate to being able to just go into something and do something loads, and then just kind of like say, no, I've learned everything I need to learn out of that one thing. I'm done with it. And I can let go of things very, very easily. So but yeah, it is incredibly hard. Well done, Kim. You know what I mean? Well done. Yes, one day at a time. Yeah, it's always one day at a time. Living every day, Kim. Totally, that's exactly it. It's living every single day, and every day is a new day. Uh, and you know, yeah, I totally go with that. More power to you, Kim. And I tell you what, it's not easy as well to sort of say that publicly like you do, Kim. So that shows testament and strength to your spirit as well, and that's going to help other people. Without even knowing it, it's going to help other people and inspire other people, which is absolutely brilliant. And that's fantastic. Positive distraction helps overcome addiction. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a bit like the fruit and stuff like that. Positive distraction. Yeah, but it is one day at a time. But yeah, Kim, well done, well done, absolutely amazing. So yeah, I don't know what time we got. We go wandering off again. I tell you, the day we should have a picnic. You know that. Try and do a picnic one day, and even if it's just like people in Australia or New Zealand or people in America or in Canada, you all meet up. We all meet up and have a picnic wherever we are in whichever country we are, and just join it in a big Zoom meeting and have a picnic together. It'd be absolutely brilliant. I think that'd be amazing to have an Astroflower picnic day. That'd be absolutely great fun. We could do that down the beach. Oh, gee, no, don't remember. My ideas are going wild now. Yes. So much love to you all, and Kim. Yeah, love to you. Love to everybody. Um, enjoy this clarity or vision of what you're supposed to be doing. And I want to finish on this sort of thing. Only you can do what you've got to do. Only you can live your life, and don't let others to tell you, what you should do or how you should do it. Obviously take advice from other people. It's always good to, but at the same time, only you can live what you're supposed to be living. And I think at the moment, this is what that is all about. It's that whole idea of, um, that whole idea of living that pathway, which is ultimately, karmically, what you should be living. Because eventually it's all going to add together, because you're living your life, because I'm living my life, because another person's living their life. We're all pushing on different fronts, but we're actually going pretty much in the same sort of direction, as it were. And I think this whole sort of shift in consciousness that we're going through at the moment is helping us to define that, and being very at ease and at one with living what we're supposed to be living. which will be really, which is, you know, very, very rewarding and fulfilling, you know. So, you know, thanking you very much. You know, thank you very much for being here. Great to see people that we haven't seen for some time. You know, Parry, in case you're listening, I hope you're doing well. You know, big thoughts out for you as well. Big thoughts out for everybody else. Vita, it was lovely to see you. Julie, it was lovely to see you. Good night, Eva. My daughter's off the bed, so I'm just saying good night to my daughter. See you in the morning, my love. So yeah, Sim, it was lovely to see you. Frisia, Kim, Coral, Chrissy, the blind entrepreneur, lovely to see you as well. Julie, lovely to see you. Jane, how you doing? You know, lovely to see you as well. Shirley, great to see you. Gillian, hope you enjoyed your first ever Astroflower live, and hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, absolutely beautiful to see everybody. You know, if I have missed out someone, I do apologise. We'll see you soon. The weeklies will be back next week. Everything will be back online next week. There will be a bit of streamlining, as I said, in the going future. But you know, we'll all be back online, as it were, going in the near future. Okay, so Nature Listens. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Lovely to see you, and yes, speak to you soon. Love to one and all, you know, and I will see you soon. In the meantime, I guess that's all for me left to say is don't forget, you know, life should be fun. So, you know, please do enjoy. No matter what you're doing, just please do enjoy. Ciao for now. Bye. Tara, Tara. Oh, is that Tara? Hang on a second. I can't see it. Let me have a quick. Was that Tara? You joined us right at the end, Tara. What's going on? Hope to catch you on the next time. Yeah, lovely to see you on the next time, Tara. Let me just I will. I'm hopeless at finishing things, so look, I'll finish it now. Lovely to see you. Speak to you soon. Take care. Yes, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.